Hello, everybody. How are you? How's it going? Apparently, I'm going to be making these a lot more often than I actually first anticipated, but oh well. A couple things before I really get into what I want to talk about in this vlog video thing. I'm going to call this the RS3 Chronicles, because I really want to call it something besides just RS3 content. So RS3 Chronicles came to my head, and that's what it's going to be called. Congratulations. Two, link in the description to a Facebook page, where I am posting things that are not only videos and stuff going on this channel and whatnot, and by that I mean these vlogs. So if you want to be more involved and interested and, you know, participate into any sort of conversation that I might have in the back of my head that I don't want to make into a video, that is the place to definitely do it. Ooh, give me money. Thank you for 8 cosmic runes. These are actually really good for just giving me random runes, but anyway. So yeah, go like that. And thirdly, the Iron Man thing recently came out, and that looks kind of interesting. And I'm wondering if you guys are interested in maybe me trying to do a series as the with the Iron Man thing. I know that Nightmare H just tried to do it, and to be quite honest, I'm not a big fan of Nightmare H. His voice is very painful to my ears, especially the way he just goes and yells and everything. It's just really, I don't know, kind of annoying to me. I don't know. But would you guys like me to do Iron Man series? If you don't know, that's, I think it's no trading, no GE, and something else you can't use. No chat, maybe? I don't know. No, I think there's chat. I mean, RuneScape is a social MMO after all, so, you know, it's got to have chat, so, yeah. There's something else I don't think you can use. Maybe it is chat, I don't know. But anyway, Iron Man, yeah, you have to make a new account. You start off with nothing. You have to try and see how far you can get just on your wits and skill and see what you can do. Very, very difficult sounding. However, quite interesting sounding at the same time. Because you can use, like, everything but the G at your disposal, so, I mean, you know, you can get, you know, eventually maybe go bossing and get bandos if you want to be a member. I don't think you have to be a member necessarily for it, but I don't even know if it actually, maybe it's no membership, that's the thing. Anyway, if you guys like me to do that, let me know. Maybe I will. Just leave a comment saying, yeah, do Iron Man, and I might just do that. So, yeah, Alright, so what I actually want to speech to you about is Repro games, as the title obviously suggests. Now, before I get into this, I guess I should explain why I'm buying these games in the first place. I buy and sell retro games and stuff because I live in a city that retro games are very, very popular, and therefore lots of old ladies in their basements outside of the city are trying to sell their old Nintendo stuff and whatnot for cheap. Now, I buy anything as old as, you know, well, as old as they get. Atari, you know, old Intellivision consoles, Pong consoles, stuff like that. And I have, and I still do. And I probably always will, because it's kind of fun to me. I enjoy the thrill of the hunt, I guess. I really enjoy when it's large lots of items, and I don't know fully what I'm going to get, because sometimes that happens. They'll have a couple of good games in the list, and then it's a bunch of who knows what is there. And again, I buy these for really, really cheap to resell for a profit. Now, said profit goes towards things like gasoline in my car, so I can go to film school, and goes to things like food, and goes to things like more gasoline and bus tickets and stuff. Stuff that I require to attend my educational institute that doesn't come from my no job at all, and basically is coming from, like, student loans and all that kind of bullshit. Lots of money being thrown around at this point in my life that I don't know what I even owe anymore. Somewhere in the vicinity of $20,000, that's all I know at this point. And it's going to increase. It'll be 30-some thousand by the time I'm done. Anyway, so, basically, I do this for not only fun, but also for profit, because I do need the money. Now, I have bought many, many games from many different people. Some of them kind of sketchy, some of them very sketchy. And so I meet this guy today. I was going to buy a bunch of Game Boy Advance games. One of them being Contra Advance, and another one being Pokemon Emerald. Now, these are two high-ish profile games. Both of them go for somewhere in the vicinity of 20 bucks. I've seen Emerald go as high as 30 before, but I think that's a little bit ludicrous. But, you know, what other people will sell for is what other people will sell for, and what people will buy for is what people will buy for. So I guess, you know, to each his own. Per se. That sound, by the way, was a Facebook notification. I apologize for that, if you did hear it. If you didn't hear it, ignore me. Anyway, So yes, I went to buy a bunch of Game Boy Advance games, those being in it, from this guy. Now, previously this day, in fact, less than an hour earlier, I bought Pokemon Emerald, Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Sapphire, and Phantom Hourglass from another guy for like $20, some really cheap number. And these are all legitimate. These are obviously played for goddamn ever. These were not new games. Definitely well played, some label damage and stuff, but they're still good condition. Definitely going to make an easy profit out of it, sort of thing. So, I bought them. Nice guy. Said thanks and left. Now, I went to meet this other guy, which was near where I usually park my car, and this guy had the games. Now, of course, I was looking at all of them, because that's just what you do when you buy stuff, because you don't know. It could be damaged, could be not there, and could be not in its case. You don't know. He was also selling me a DS game, which was Super Mario Bros. DS or whatever, for like $1 or something ridiculous. So, you check the cases, you look at the games. Now, I looked at all of the games, and then I got all of the games except for Contra Advance and Pokemon Emerald. Now, at this point, all of these games were pristine condition, brand fucking new condition. These did not look like they had been played, not excessively at any rate. Maybe once or twice or whatever, but eventually when you get Game Boy or even Game Boy Advance games, and I'm looking at the back of Sapphire right now, it gets those streaks in it from wear, going in and out of the slot, because that's just what happens. Even DS games, after a while, do get these, just looking little streaks inside and stuff in the cartridges. This is a sign of obvious use. Now, these games looked pristine, brand new, and what caught my eye is, at first of all, not really the newness of the games. I've bought games that look brand new that are legitimate before, so it didn't really strike me as odd at first. Now, I got to Pokemon Emerald. Pokemon Emerald, its label was different. It was very strange looking, and what it was is, if you ever looked at Pokemon Sapphire, Pokemon Emerald, or Pokemon Ruby, they're very shiny, I guess is the word I would use for it. Yeah, shiny is definitely the word I would use for it. The labels are quite shiny. They have that sheen on them that Nintendo put on them purposely to look attractive, because, they're these special versions or whatever, because they've already had, Fire Red and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, they look really quite shiny. They look quite new. Not new. They look quite dazzling in the lights. Now, this Pokemon Emerald was not. It was a very dull-looking label. It looked like it was printed, and that struck me as odd at first. And then, so I was like, okay, that's weird. So I put the bag down, I put my bag down, I bring out the Pokemon Emerald I had bought earlier that day, and I compare the two. Not only is the other Emerald not shiny labeled, the seal of quality is completely wacky. The seal of quality on at the very least, the Game Boy Advance versions of any game are kind of fat. They're very portly. This one was very round, very spherical. It was almost a perfect circle with the spikes coming out of it still and stuff. And the Nintendo label, so the Nintendo actual icon that Nintendo uses because it's Nintendo. You've seen it everywhere. It's the red Nintendo with the restricted thing surrounded by a circular-shaped red bar. Now, that was squashed, and then the other thing was that the Pokemon Company, which is in the top, technically the top right-hand corner of Sapphire. I believe it's also an Emerald. Let me take a look. No, never mind. The Pokemon Company is not. It's in the bottom left-hand version. However, it was very bold. A lot bolder than the Pokemon Emerald version I bought that day. So I'm like, okay, that looks weird. So, I kind of set that a little bit aside. So I look at Contra Advance. Now, Contra Advance is a fucking train wreck. It's perfect condition, brand fucking new. The label, however, is obviously stretched. Like, if you put it into, paint and then try to stretch this picture or whatever so it'll fit your YouTube thumbnail or something like that. It looks ridiculous. I'll see if I can do that maybe with, like, this video to kind of, as an example. You can look at the thumbnail of this video, maybe. Maybe not, who knows. But when something looks stretched, like on your TV screen, it looks stretched. It's very obvious that it's been stretched. The faces are fat and all that kind of stuff. So it was stretched, quite obviously. There was no Nintendo seal of quality. There was no Nintendo icon on the game at all. And the Contra Advance game has, I believe it's the Alien Wars X or something like that on it. Did not have that on it at all. This was obviously taken from Google, stretched, and then printed on. So I go back and look at the rest of the games, and sure enough, if it even had the seal of quality, it was quite fat. Now, how can you tell that this is definitely a repro game and not just a repro label? Because I've seen plenty of repro labels before, because labels get damaged, they get torn, and blah blah blah. You want your game to look nice, so you pay somebody $10 to do a repro label. Because one, legitimate repro labels have to say that they are a repro label. It will say generally in the bottom left-hand corner that it is a repro label. This is not an official licensed label. However, the game is still, of course, legitimate. It drops the value of the game a little bit, yes, but it's still a legitimate game, so you're still going to pay somewhere around, 80% value. So, let's say you have Pokemon Emerald, just because it's an easy example, because we're already talking about it. Instead of, $20, it goes down to, somewhere in the vicinity of $15 if you like working with nice round $5 bills like I do. That's all that happens to that. However, these games did not have any of that. It was obviously all, just printed on, maybe taken from Google and used like that, or possibly made in Photoshop. Who knows? I don't really care. And the games, at this point, because they're brand new looking, also tip me off, because it's quite obviously these games were all reproduction cartridges. Because not only did he have fake labels, he also had brand new cartridges. If you're going to try and pass off a fake game with a fake label and just pass it off as just a repro label and not a repro game, have some damage to your game. And I know that sounds bad, but and I know I'm sounding like I'm trying to instruct you on how to make fake games, but make it look damaged, make it look used, like this other guy's game that I bought today. All these games work great, but they look used, because they are. Don't give me brand new cartridges with really shiny, nice, everything in it. No aging signs at all, and then try to pass me off as legit cartridges. And then say you also bought it from Walmart for $10. Like you said, you got these games for like $10 at Walmart a couple of years ago. Okay, for one, Pokemon Emerald, I think, was not in Walmart a couple of years ago. It was in like 8 to 10 years. Actually, more than that, I think. It could have been even more. It might be a good close to 10 years now. Two, it's a Pokemon game. It's not going to go below $20 before it's discontinued. That has never happened in my knowledge. Currently, right now, you can still sort of get, if you're really lucky, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and they're still sitting in around the $25 to $30 mark. In fact, I think they're $40 new still, like if they get new copies somehow magically. So that's, obvious bullshit right there. So yeah, why is that a problem? Now that we finally got to the end of my story, it's a problem because, well, for one, repro games do not work very well in systems, and the problem with that, if you're just, okay, I'll do it in 3 parts, actually. The part I'm going to explain to you now is if you're buying it just to play it. I'll also explain if you're buying to collect, and then if you're buying to resell like I do. If you're buying to play it, most repro carts, and if they're done, generally quite poorly, which most guys, like this guy, just looking to make a quick buck, they're made quite poorly, or don't even work at all. Most of the time, if they do work, they don't save very well. They can freeze randomly throughout the game. And if it's just a hacked cart, then, of course, hacked carts have a tendency, especially with Nintendo, just to freeze up randomly and, taunt you. Some carts are very famous for this. If you hack them, there are some expensive carts, some expensive hacked carts, because interesting stuff happens when you hack them. So, to buy to play sucks, because it's probably not going to work for very long, if at all. If you're buying to collect it, it should be fairly obvious if you're buying to collect. It's not a legitimate cartridge. You're looking for the legitimate cartridge, so you can add it to your collection and say, hey, look, I have the legitimate cartridge of Pokemon Emerald, or Contra Advance. However, no, they don't have it. They have a fake reproduction cartridge that is worth nothing to anybody. You can buy reproduction cartridges, professionally Chinese-made, for about $4 on a couple of websites, or, of course, you can get your local repro maker to actually make you a cart that actually works. There's a guy in the city that does a lot of that with NES stuff. They work really great, and he has a warranty. So, yeah, buy from a legit guy, that's for sure. 2, if you're buying to resell, that one should also be pretty fucking obvious. If you're buying to resell a game, you're generally trying to buy a legitimate copy, so you can sell a legitimate copy to a legitimate person who's a very legitimate person because they're buying a legitimate copy. If you start going around and toting that these are legitimate copies, not knowing that they are actually repros, you can lose what we call reputation, especially in a small city. I would like to point out that my reputation was not hurt by this because I did not buy the games and I told the guy to literally shove them up his ass because I don't take any of that shit. You don't tell me that you bought these from Walmart 10 years ago and then show no wear or tear at all with brand new fucking labels that you obviously printed off of Google and put them on yourself. Thank you, dumbass. Now, yeah. So, your reputation can be quite ruined by selling repro games and trying to pass them off as legitimate. So, generally speaking, you can't sell repro games because repro games don't sell because nobody wants them. They want legitimate games. If you actually do manage to sell them, you sell them to a guy who's making legitimate repro cards for about a quarter. That's right. 25 cents is roughly what you'll get from those. So, if you're ever going and buying a game, especially from somebody on Kijiji or Craigslist, depending on where you are in the world, make sure you look at the cartridges first. And if you have a friend, or you happen to also have a cartridge of the same game that you're buying, or if you're buying in a lot that just happens to be a game that you also own, bring it with you, because you never know when you're going to have to look at them for comparison because something looks a little bit off. That's just my friendly neighborhood Spider-Man advice. Don't buy repro cards. Don't sell repro cards unless you're a professional guy who is saying that you sell repro cards. Do not try to pass off repro cards as legitimate cartridges, because that is what we call, in the game industry, an asshole. That's pretty much it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and of course, like my Facebook page, vote on the Iron Man thing, as I twiddle my arrow keys here and annoy the shit out of you. And of course, what else did I say? God, I don't even remember. Iron Man thing, vote on that, go like my Facebook page, and, I don't know, like my video, subscribe, whatever. Oh yeah, the Chronicles thing, that was the other thing I said. Anyway, alright, I'm done. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.